I'm Dana J. Smithers, one of the Emotion Code Divas. Just to give you a little heads up, we are going to have an Emotion Code Divas show in a couple of weeks with three or four of our Emotion Code Divas pals. So stay tuned for that. That will be a very special episode. And today's episode is going to be very, 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 very near and dear to many women's and men's hearts. So this whole month of May, we're dedicating to talking about weight and releasing it, how the emotions get trapped, what happens when they get trapped. And Helena, as a clinical hypnotherapist, has lots and lots of tips and information about how to deal with that from that level, but also we are certified emotion code practitioners, so we'll be talking about that. So the intention of our show, which is weekly every Wednesday at 9:30 Pacific time, is we like to give you a educational segment. We hope we inspire you, and then we heal and release trapped emotions from one of our viewers. And usually at the end of each show, we let you know what's going on next week, and so we ask for a viewer to step up, and then we have some conversations with them. So on today's show, we have another Emotion Code Diva, Debbie Talbert, and Debbie's going to be putting some comments in there about some food cravings that she has. And we all get them, and Helena is going to explain why you get them. So let's move on to the other Emotion Code Diva, Helena Jehnichen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Helena Jehnichen. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and also a certified emotion code practitioner. I help women, men and women, help release excess weight, help them stop smoking. I am the StopSmokingLady.com, as well as releasing their anxiety, medical anxiety, social anxiety. I specialize in those three particular items, and I have an office here in lovely Vancouver Island, but I see many of my clients online via Skype or Messenger, and yeah, it's actually working out really, really well. So I've got clients in the UK and the States and in Nanaimo, which is only a couple hours from me. It's been really convenient. So I love this medium.
Right, and yeah, just as far as emotion code sessions go with Helena or I, we do them just by phone. I've got one later on, a couple hours later today, from a gal in the States who's been going through some grieving and just kind of feels stuck in her life. Speaking of grieving, we did a special episode yesterday. It's not numbered, it's just called special episode, Releasing Grieving. So you might want to watch that if you're going through any kind of grief. And also, if you ladies, any of you are in menopause, you're going to be doing a lot of grieving over this, because this is a new phase of your life. So, check it out. There's some good information there as well. But so we can do them by phone. I have some clients that I've started to work with, and they'll just email me. And I think you have the same, Helena, where we're going to go through how can we do that? What are the steps that we need to do it? But we can do that, or I've done some lately on FaceTime, Facebook chat. So it doesn't matter. We're accessible, and we both have clients all around the world. And that's our mission, is to help heal and release trapped emotions in men and women so that you can feel better in life. And so let's just talk a little bit about our training and what the process is. If you're a first-time viewer, love for you to say hello to us and share this as well, as this is a fairly new show this year. We just rolled it out this year, and we're looking for viewers, and we believe we have a lot of value and inspiration to find other people, because we're all going through the same things in life, right? All right. So Helena and I are both trained by Dr. Bradley Nelson, and this is the Emotion Code book. That is kind of like the Bible of the emotion code. We are certified and have gone through a training program of working with over 30 clients and working through emotions and also animals. So I particularly like to work with dogs and cats. I've been working with some abused dogs and just getting them to feel less scared, and a lot of abandonment and betrayal emotions come up. And yes, of course, animals have emotions, and they have trapped emotions as well. So Helena, let's go ahead through the steps that we do. So if somebody's emailing us we first of all must have their
permission.
Yeah. So what
That's
does that
right.
mean, Helena?
Well, permission means that they actually have to ask for our help, and we ask for permission that we can do the work, do the emotion code process on them. And that just means but we can't just go around doing the emotion code on strangers, we see in the grocery store, or children, without people's permission.
Right. So we can work on children. We just have to get the parents' permission. And same with the animals. We'll just ask them to be the surrogate. And what I like to do is have somebody actually be holding the animal so that I can become the next step, which is the proxy.
Yes, the proxy. The proxy is the right to ask questions on behalf of the animal or the child or the person that we're working on. So we can ask their subconscious mind, the person we're working on, directly questions, yes or no.
Right. And then we'll be working on Debbie Talbert. And hi, Debbie. Debbie's posted. And hello to Natasha from Sussex, Romford, Essex. Let us know, Natasha. I always forget Essex. Anyway, and I expect that we'll have Sylvia Bellini, a loyal follower from London, but she's sometimes working as well. So Debbie's is the person I'm going to be working on today. So she's letting us know some of the cravings that she has and kind of what she's been going through. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the other thing that I had to ask Debbie is, how serious was she feeling about this? So we call this the severity. And, you know, while most people are going to be around 8, 9, or 10, our goal is to get it down to a 1 or a 0. And it doesn't always happen in the first session. Often with people, I like to do a 3-session program with them. And that way, what we haven't gotten rid of, then we can actually carry over and see where it is when we move on the next week to the next session. So
it's like an onion. As we work with someone in hypnotherapy, the same thing. We're able to, peel away a layer, take care of that layer, but there's another layer underneath that. And so as you peel it away and work on the different layers, you get to the beauty, the core, of us.
Yeah, we should probably change it from being an onion.
Okay, a rose. How about a rose petal?
Yeah, that's right. We're peeling off the petals, but also we often talk about, and I'm showing a lemon here right now.
Me too.
So when we talk about trapped emotions, according to Dr. Bradley Nelson, our emotions can be the size of a lemon or as large as a cantaloupe in our body. And what I've experienced is when people are feeling really chronic pain, that's where they've got those cantaloupes, right? It could be shoulder pain, or if people are getting migraines up the back of their neck or neck pain, it can just be one lemon trapped emotion on top of another. And so we just keep removing those, and we remove those by doing what we call muscle testing.
Muscle testing. Well, we identify, we use muscle testing to identify the trapped emotion. And my muscle testing looks like this. I've agreed with my subconscious mind to give me yes and no answers when I do this. I link my fingers together, and if the answer is a yes, my fingers are stuck together. And when the answer is no, they just slip apart. It's quite interesting when you're first learning how to do muscle testing. It's like, oh, okay, do I get this? And pressure. It's ever so gentle. And as you get better and better at it, you just start to trust the signals. And
so and again, in Dr. Bradley's book, he describes, and there's YouTube videos of different types of muscle testing, but I do mine with my index and thumb finger because we're looking for a yes. So I take my fingers in my other hand, and that's a yes that I get when I'm working with the subconscious. And Helena's going to talk about the iceberg in a minute, but that's a yes and that's a no. So we only ask for yes or no answers. We're not asking for great stories, and we don't really need to know too much of your story either. But Helena, I'm just going to interrupt to say hello to a few people here. So Chris is back, and she's Cloudy, Michigan today. We've done a little bit of emotion code work on Chris. Debbie Talbert's telling me that's at 10. Okay. And Misty Anderson says she likes the idea of a rose better than an onion. But, I think we need to do some research on that one, because what came to mind too was an artichoke, right? You peel away and then you get to the really good part, right?
Oh, that I like.
Yeah, so got to think about that. So we're going to ask viewers to come up with something where we can talk about peeling away the layers until we get really to the beauty. And I don't even know in a lotus flower if you peel away. So one of our viewers, some research on that, please. We don't want to talk about peeling the layers of the onion anymore. It's funny, the stuff that we're taught and that we stick with, right? That's a lot about the subconscious going on there. Anyway,
hey, the rose has a lovely rose hip in the middle that makes a lovely tea.
Oh, okay, I'm liking that. I'm a major tea drinker. Okay, I'm liking that. And Debbie Talbert saying, is the rose is nice, or maybe even a caterpillar becoming the butterfly. The only thing when I think of the caterpillar is I don't want to pull anything off of it. So, all right, let's get back to the topic.
Back to it,
right? Yeah. Sylvia Bellini is watching and saying hello, ladies. Hello, Sylvia, and
I also have a couple of friends watching, and
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and if you want to say hello, just a little chat hello, and that would be lovely. And
yeah,
and hopefully maybe one day you'll want to volunteer for one of our shows.
Yeah, and speaking of volunteering, I see that Misty Anderson has joined us as well. That's Alaska Misty, hashtag Alaska Misty. So Misty, just to give you heads up too, we're gonna Helena and I will be doing a show with hopefully Misty and Debbie Talbert and Cindy Trost and Permelia, who's on Vancouver Island as well. So those are kind of gals that we know and that we've worked with, and Helena and I are the Emotion Code Divas. So let's be really clear on that one. But there are other Emotion Code Divas out there, right? All right. Okay, good. All right. Enough of that. All right. So what's next, Helena? What's our next step?
So after we are doing the muscle testing, we're asking yes or no questions. And what we're using to ask is our emotion code chart. And the emotion code chart was developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson as a chart. It's got 2 columns, A and B, and it's got 6 different rows. And on there are 60 negative emotions. And so what we'll be asking is if there's a trapped emotion in column A or column B, is it in an odd row or is it in an even row? And then when we have that answer through muscle testing, we'll come to a cell with 5 different emotions in there. And then we'll ask individually if it's one of the 5. And then we'll begin to release the trapped emotion. That is... Where's my iceberg? Got an iceberg picture. Oh, here it is. Where are those trapped emotions actually when they're in the body? But they're also in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind knows everything. It's a supercomputer. And it holds our emotions, our memories, our imagination, our dreams, our automatic reflexes. It's about it's this part here that's underneath the water. We can't really see it, but it's the majority of this iceberg or the mind. That top little, it's driving us, and that little top part there, that little 5 or 10% is our conscious mind. So whenever we're making decisions with our conscious mind, unless your subconscious mind is on board, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and you're going to be talking a little bit, well, actually a lot more about that when I'm doing the session with Debbie, and just letting people know what's actually going on there, and also the physical part of it, and what's going on with hormones and what messages are going to the brain or what aren't going to the brain, right? And what's overpowering the brain. When we just go down to that subconscious, it becomes a ruler, right? This is where the temper tantrums are coming from, down here, right? The hissy fits, everything, all these negative emotions, it's kind of like a geyser. They just kind of go off. And that little subconscious mind is got all this stuff going on there, and it stays there from conception to now. And we won't get into past lives at this point. So what do? The emotion, we identify the emotion, and then what do?
We use a magnet because magnet is pure energy, and the emotion is energy. It pops out of our physical system into our energetic system,
Right.
sort of covering us. And we're using a magnet, very strong magnets we have, and what we're using is we're using our intention and the magnets to neutralize the emotion. And the way we do that is we do this swiping motion. Now, Dana, why are we doing this swiping motion?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're actually negating, and really that magnetic, the emotion is all energy. So when it comes, we're actually demagnetizing it. So when we do that, it's no longer going to be in your body. And since we're the proxy, it's coming up through us at this time. And we do 3 swipes of the emotion. I mean, we have all sorts of, people know about the main 7 chakras, but we have hundreds of chakras in our body. We have the governing meridian that goes through the entire body. And if we're working with someone in person, we would actually take the magnets from just above the lip over the head, but go all the way down their back to the spine. But when we're working like this, we're just doing it to the base of our neck and demagnetizing that. And then we're just asking the question, did I release that? And if I get a yes, I'm good. And if it's a no, then we go back and ask some more yes or no questions.
Great. And the final, which is super important, key to this whole process is hydration. A hydrated practitioner allows us to get those yes or no answers correctly through muscle testing. If any of you are ever doing muscle testing on yourself and you're not getting clear answers, just go hydrate. So where's my hydration? Here it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a sip.
Yeah, and it's just a good idea to be drinking water all day long anyway. We need it. Our body needs it. It's very good for your complexion as well. If you're starting to feel dried out, it's because you're not drinking enough water. All right, Helena.
Good.
So I'm just going to talk about what I'm going to go ahead and start with Debbie. So Debbie Talbert has given us information. There's information in there. So Debbie says that right now she's got these cravings, and she kind of feels like a 2-year-old wanting to have a temper tantrum, and it's like, no, I can have that food. And then she's got this mind freak going on of, well, it's not fair. Why does this have to be so hard? I don't want to have this food, but I'm having it. And the reasons that we're having those cravings are mainly because we're looking for that high. And Helena is going to talk about that high and where, in what other foods you can actually find a better high, and where you make a conscious choice and an unconscious choice. Because if we're eating junk food, we may think it's a conscious choice, but the subconscious is playing a big role in that, and that it wants to make us feel better. And we can have a really short-term high, but the negative feelings and the way we feel after is never worth it. And then we guilt ourselves, and why did I do that? And I should know better, and I'm worthless, and I'm useless, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to go ahead and work on Debbie. I have her permission. She said that her severity is at about a 10 with these cravings. So, and right now she's craving chips, cookies, and cake. So I'm going to work on those. And I'm also going to do a little bit of inner child work here. I just want to see when this emotion got trapped in Debbie. So, and see if I can find out, was there a specific person or just kind of what was going on there. So, Helena, I'm just going to unplug, and I know you've got a lot of great information today. I will watch the show after as well, because I know the stuff that you share is really great. So,
thank you.
See me in a bit, and I have Debbie's permission to do this. Yeah.
Alrighty. So as a clinical hypnotherapist, one of the first things I do with my clients is we have a conversation. We have a conscious conversation, because I want them to understand how the mind works. Once you understand how your mind works, then you're able to make the changes that you desire. And so again, it's this iceberg concept here that you're consciously, Debbie, don't want to eat chips. I don't want to eat cake. And why am I eating this junk food? And I want to, and I don't want to be overweight and have these extra pounds and so forth. And so your conscious mind is got all that going on. Meanwhile, your subconscious mind has got a completely different set of programming that's going on. And it's acting as a protection, actually. You see, a long time ago, when we were younger, up until about the age of 8 or so, we were actually all in the subconscious mind. We were highly suggestible. We were more in a hypnotic trance. And so children these days, actually always, are up until that age, are in a hypnotic trance. They're being programmed to be who they are later on in life. So I'm going to just jump to this particular book here, and it's called A Smart Woman's Guide to Weight Loss. I prefer if it would have said A Smart Woman's Guide to Weight Release. Who wants to lose anything? Because we're always going to go find it. So this is by by Lorna Vanderhaeg. She has a whole line of nutritional products. She's Canadian, and she's really very good because she writes these lovely, easy to read books so you understand what's going on. But one of the sections in here is about emotional eating. And what she's saying here is scientists have yet to discover the obesity gene. And once found, it may take decades to crack the code. But we already know that obesity and a tendency to be overweight can be inherited, and rooted in behavior we learn from our families. So if you know that you have a family history of gaining weight or having excess weight, diabetes or disease, you'll want to ensure that you eat differently. And that's now where the conscious decisions have to come into place. When you're shopping, consciously choosing the foods that you're bringing home, consciously choosing the foods that are in your cupboard. And that's step one. But these patterns of choosing the feel-good foods, the cakes, the cookies, the chocolate, the pop, anything with sugar, carbohydrates included, we learn those behaviors very early on. You know how it is. You come home from school, it wasn't so good. Here's a cookie. Here's a peanut butter sandwich with jam. That's what we used to get. And it soon developed, oh, that feels better. Why? Because of the chemical reaction in your body. Sugar stimulates a very short-term feel-good feeling. It stimulates the serotonin levels in our bodies. And when we're not feeling good, or let's say we're depressed, or we've had a diet high in carbohydrates and sugar, our serotonin levels will be naturally low, constantly looking for the high. So we reach for the sugars, the carbohydrates, and it will give you a quick little spike, make you feel good, and then it lets you down. Oh, I don't feel so good again. Oh, I better have something quick. So we learned this early on. Have some sugar, have a treat, have a birthday cake, go to a party, have some alcohol, not when you're younger, but when you're older. But it's all about the reward system. Feel bad, have something that makes you feel good. So later on in life, this happens with my smokers. They often start smoking when they're in their teenage years, and they've associated smoking with feel good because they're smoking with their friends. They're feeling cool, they're feeling rebellious. And then so later on in life, when they're feeling stressed, lonely, angry, or tired, frustrated, all those different emotions, what do? They reach for the cigarette. Feel good. Somehow in their subconscious mind, they've got the connection still, have a cigarette, feel good. Or when we're having the food cravings, it's have some cake, feel good. Have a glass of wine, feel better. I'm stressed out, have another drink. Have the potato chips. But what's happening is we're spiking our system, and then this drops down. Now, a better way is to have a diet that is making you feel good right from the start. It is a diet that's high in protein, pasture-raised meats, fresh fish, and good oils, good fat. Butter, olive oil, coconut oil, oils from different nuts, seeds, eating nuts, olives. Olives are fantastic. And all of those food are going to satiate you. Your body, your brain is going to get the serotonin it needs because that's what it's doing. Those good foods are lifting your serotonin levels. Your serotonin in your brain is going to tell you that you're feeling full and satisfied and you feel good. So now you're at a place where you're nutritionally putting foods into your system that are keeping you feel good. Your body is starting to relax more. Your whole parasympathetic system is relaxing more. And it's all correlated together to your adrenal glands. How many of us are like, go, 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 get up in the morning, go. Oh, and then it's been all day and you haven't maybe had something to eat and you grab that sugar, that carbohydrate, that coffee with the sugar sweeteners in it or something like that, or even just the coffee, the artificial stimulant to keep you going. It's keeping your adrenal glands on going, going, going. And finally your adrenals say, I don't got nothing more for you. And so then we get the tired, the sleepless nights, the mood swings, and so forth. And all that can be corrected with food, with a little bit of exercise or movement. And I'm just talking about swimming or walking, or I have a rebounder. Actually, I have a rebounder right beside me in my office because I tend to sit so much with my clients that I need to rebound. I find that it energizes me. But the one natural serotonin thing that you can do is sunlight. Sunlight, and getting sunlight on the palms of our hands and the soles of our feet, allowing our body to make the vitamin D. Isn't it interesting how it all comes together? The foods that we're taking into our system, how it affects our different glands, producing the different hormones, all the natural feel-good stuff. So, number one thing to feel good and to release the food cravings is by choosing the foods that go into your system. The protein-rich foods, the good fats. I love in the morning, I have a water processed decaf coffee with a shot of MCT oil or coconut oil. And when I first tried it, I'm like, I don't know if this is really going to work or if I'm going to enjoy it. Well, I tell you what, my brain has never been so on. When I have that coffee in the morning with the coconut oil, I'm thinking clearly right from the start versus my groggy time when I used to have oatmeal in the morning. But oatmeal was really good for me, and on some levels it is, but it was too much carbohydrates for me in the morning. I needed protein and fat. So, Dana, that looks like you are done over there. And I think I'm done. But just this book here, if you can find it, I'm going to
We'll put the name of it in. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and I'm going to post, I'll put an article on my website, so I'll put a link to my website with all the different tips that I shared today, so you can read it instead of me just talking about it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so very interesting. While I was working on Debbie, so yeah, just reading some comments too about the sunlight. Yeah, that's why I said I want to listen to this because Helena's, she's really expert in this area, and there's lots of things that, I mean, I do look at nutrition as well, and have been more so for the last maybe 3 years in particular. But it's interesting what you say about oatmeal, because a nutritionist that I worked with said that, oatmeal, even a naturopath, that was one of the best things to have in the morning. And when I have oatmeal, I don't have sugar on it, and sometimes I don't even have milk. But I often make it for my husband just to make sure that he's had something. But yeah, protein is absolutely key, and the good fats, right? And ice cream and cookies and cakes and chips are not the good fats.
And Dana, really, it's not food.
Yeah.
Most of that stuff is not food. There's trans fats in there. There's
and the amount of sugar, right? Look at anything that this is totally an aside, but this is what we do on the show. But I used to really like gin and tonic in the summer. In sunshine, it was always kind of one of my favorite drinks. But one day I just happened to be looking at the reading the labels, because I do that and I go, 28 grams of sugar in tonic water that doesn't even taste sweet, right? So I just stopped that immediately, and it's just like, wow. So, we're constantly reading sugar is in everything, and particularly white sugar, right? So, yeah,
Well, it's sometimes it's corn syrup,
yeah,
it's even fructose and sugar in juice. So like,
yeah,
oh, I'm having pure
yeah,
orange juice or pure apple juice. Imagine how
yeah,
many apples have to go into a glass of juice. It's like, 2, 3, 4 apples into a glass of juice. Eat an apple instead, and see how many apples you can eat in a row. Probably one, and you get all the good. You get more fiber in there.
yeah.
So
And I love apples with peanut butter. And I use natural peanut butter. It has no sugar in it. Adams is my favorite peanut butter. Just put a bit of that on as a snack. It's really good and very filling, very satisfying. All right, let's get to these trapped emotions for Debbie here. Uh, Debbie's just making the comment that I totally was aware these are not food. However, I knew it was because emotions, because the grabbing of the stuff was so automatic and soon consumed, right, before you even realize it. And that's what happens, right? It's the conscious mind, the subconscious just takes over, right? It's a bigger part of the iceberg, and it rules us until that little bit of that mindfulness comes in. Anyway, I'll just tell you the emotions that I released for Debbie. So the first one was anxiety. The next one was vulnerability. And Debbie made a comment in here about going to her grandma's, and when she was not allowed to have ice cream at home, but she could have it at her grandma's. So the age is 3 to 5. Okay, well,
yeah,
the ages that came up for me, 3, 4, and 5.
and
For
those are. And that, Dana, is the programming period. That's
yeah,
when the children are in that hypnotic state, and the information and the feelings and the
yeah,
memories are all going into the subconscious mind. And so we're acting as 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So anxiety and vulnerability came up at 3, 4. And when we get an age, as emotion code practitioners, Dr. Brad said it can be a year before or a year after. So Debbie's came at 3 and 4. Overwhelm came at the age 9 and 10. Worthless, 7 and 8. Terror also came up at the age 3 and 4. Creative insecurity was a trapped emotion, but there wasn't any age to it. And then anger came up at 9 and 10. And then, what we do is we're asking the subconscious, are there any more trapped emotions that need to be released at this time to release these sweet cravings from Debbie? And when I get a no, then I just stop, because that's the subconscious telling us that that's enough processing. If we were doing a longer session, we might move on to a different topic. But since we're doing, short sessions here, we do it that way. And when we get the no, it just means that some processing now needs to take place. And that could be in the form of, maybe even going for a walk. It might be having a little nap. It could be feeling like lighter is usually the one we always hear, Helena, when we do sessions. People just feel lighter. And I think they feel lighter because they've asked for help, right? They've set that intention. I need some help. Can someone help me? And I believe that the universe hears that. We have an abundant source here that is infinite in the healings that it can bring to us as emotion code practitioners. All the different healers in the world are all working to help people feel better, right? And when we feel better, we act better, life is happier, and we're ready to move on. We get creative again, we grow, we learn. Life is just better. And that's why Helena and I became certified emotion code practitioners. Because it's making these changes in the world, and we're doing our part by doing this.
And I became an emotion code practitioner because I benefited so much from when we Dana, you're my coach, my business coach, and I remember I didn't want to do some tasks. I couldn't do the tasks, and you said, let's do an emotion code session. I'm like, well, what's that? And immediately the changes in my attitude towards to completing these tasks were amazing. And then our friend Michael Ozier did a session on me, release my or my habit of drinking Tim Hortons extra large hot chocolate. And it was
I didn't know
amazing.
about that one.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. So he did that, and I was drinking them every time I got in my car, habit, and drove up to Nanaimo, which is about an hour,
Yeah.
and then every time I drove back. So that was like 3 or 4 times a week, extra large Tim Hortons hot
Wow.
chocolate. I don't even know how much sugar was in that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's since September. Tim Hortons hot chocolate sits in our cupboard because my husband likes to drink it, and it's like. Chocolate's not even in my closet, like in my food cabinet. It's like I don't see it, but yet it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And also too, we're not negating the fact that if you are living with someone, whether it's a spouse, partner, whatever, or you have children or, just somebody, roommate or whatever, that they could have foods in there that at one time are tempting to you. But I really do believe that once we've released some of these emotions around specific foods as well, that, as Helena said, they're there, but you don't even see them. It's like, oh, how long have these cookies been here, right?
It's
Yeah.
no longer in my conscious mind because
Exactly.
my subconscious mind has released it.
Yeah, so we're not looking for that. But, it's not to say that, you're not going to have episodes or times in your life when you are going through maybe some kind of trauma or something where you're not going to reach for those comfort foods. Most likely you are. And I talked about these yesterday in the episode on grieving. Go ahead and have them. Chances are if you're someone that used to sit and eat a box or a bag of chocolate chip cookies, you're not going to do that. You might have 1 or 2 or something and then just put them away and then just trying to, deal with your feelings. And what I try and do when I have a negative emotion is try and think about, well, what's the opposite of that? And this morning I was doing, because I was still thinking about grieving from yesterday, that I was grieving over one of my cats, Katie, who was 15, that got sick, and I had to send her off to heaven, and it was just so painful for me. But the emotion that I had this morning was, yes, I saw the grief, but oh my goodness, I felt the love that I had for 15 years for Katie. I mean, it just sort of opened up my heart, and I didn't feel the grief anymore. So we can change our emotions, and that then becomes that top of that iceberg, right? Where we're conscious. The same with food. We can reach for something. And if you're going for the chocolate bar or the apple with peanut butter, think about which one would be better for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Dana, how long ago did your cat go to heaven?
Katie was June 9th, 2015.
It's amazing how long grief can stay with us,
Yeah.
and how heavy it can feel.
Yeah. And I had certainly grieved her, but I just noticed that another episode of grief came up in my life, and it triggered that. But as I said this morning when I was meditating, I was able to see that the negative emotion moved into the positive of just how blessed I was to have her, and how much I loved her, and what a character she was, and the joy that she brought to my life. So we yes, and so sometimes I have to do an emotion code session on myself, just to kind of get out of it. Anyway, we're kind of a little bit over time today, but that's okay. As Michael Ozier always says on his show, it's our show, so we can do whatever we want, right? Yeah. So Debbie's just made a comment here. Says she feels more at ease right now. Yeah, thanks so much, Dana and Helena. I love it when I can watch you guys, and we love that too, Debbie. So stay tuned. I'll be sending out an email with some dates for the Emotion Code Divas, inviting some Emotion Code Divas to the Emotion Code Divas show. Yeah, I haven't decided what the topic will be yet, but we'll pick something that's kind of juicy for women.
Yes. Oh, I know what's juicy for women. Dana, I many years ago, I my past, or I still do a little event coordinating, but I produced an event called Sexy, Healthy, Wealthy Women.
Yes, I know, and I went to it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
That was one of the, we were just sort of starting our friendship back then, and that was in 2011.
Wow.
And it was quite a fascinating show, and I had a lot of people want a repeat of it. And what we talked about is the sexy part was, I had a doctor, Nita Tanis, who worked with women in menopausal and hormone, like when you're just out of whack. And she talked about how the body.
Been there.
We've been there, right? And I'm like, oh, the information was just a little bit too early. But later on, she became my doctor. And so she helped me like hormonally. And then so I had a sex coach talk to the audience, and my mom was in the audience, and it was Sunday morning. And I thought, let's kick this show off with a bang and have a sex coach talk. And it was really enlightening, because there's a topic that seems a little taboo, but really, men and women are sexual creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And when we remove the taboo and we get our hormones, our bodies, and our mind all synced and aligned, we can just be who we truly are, men and women, however we are, whatever our preferences are or whatever, but just releasing maybe some shame or guilt around sexuality.
Okay, all right. That's going to be the topic of this show. Sexuality, maybe releasing sexual taboos, or releasing, something. It'll be around something to do with sex. And sometimes on Facebook, they won't allow you to use certain words, but I'm sure sex is going to be okay in the heading. If not, ladies, you kind of know what we're going to be talking about. We'll figure out what it is. Yeah, that was a great show. So, Helena, how can our viewers reach you?
Viewers can reach me through my website, my hypnosis website, which is flourishhypnosis.com/emotion-code.
And you can find me. Thanks so much, Helena. Find me at empoweredwomeninbusiness.com/emotion-code. And Helena and I both have YouTube channels, so you can watch the Emotion Code Divas videos, but we also have other videos up there as well. Helena has lots on hypnosis. I have lots on law of attraction, life purpose, sacred gifts, those kinds of things. So please share this. We love to for you to invite more of your friends. As I say, this is a fairly new show, so we're wanting to get more likes and more people, enjoying the show. And if you can't be live, then watching the replay is good. And we believe that we have the technical visual distortion difficulties worked out. Yay for us. Took a while working with Blue Jeans, but there you go. All right. Bye for now. I've got a session with somebody coming up. So long, Helena. And I will stop the recording, and I will stop the broadcast.